Hey, Screen Junkies, we'll be back from break next week. But for now, enjoy the 10 best films we had to dig deep to find a way to make fun of. From the guy who made the first few episodes of The Walking Dead comes a film so quietly hopeful, deliberately paced, and unassuming, it totally bombed in theaters because everyone went to see Speed instead. What even is a Shawshank Redemption? Sounds like a Southern wrestler's finishing move.
And look at this. Oh my God. Come on. The
Shawshank Redemption. Check out number 1 on IMDb's top 250 films list, because the users on that site have barely seen 250 films between them. That's nevertheless a masterpiece that gave dudes everywhere permission to cry their eyes out, and lets every tough guy pretend they'd do time with the quiet dignity of Andy Dufresne, when in reality, they'd be the first fish to crack, then narc on red for a pack of cigs.
Officer, that kindly old man tried to give me a rock hammer. I think he's gang affiliated. You gotta get me out of here.
Travel back to a time when the prison system locked up innocent men for life, subjected them to physical and sexual abuse, and was more interested in profit than rehabilitation.
I need this new highway contract.
Wait, how's that different from now? Oh, right. Right. And meet Andy Dufresne, the biggest dork in Shawshank history. And we mean big, as Tim Robbins hides his NBA-level height to make his ass look kickable. He'll spend his life sentence carving chess sets, listening to opera, doing taxes, and correcting people's grammar.
Don't read so good. You don't read so well.
That all help to cover for his escape plan, because no sane guard wants to do a deep search of the prison mathlete's spank den. Ew. Return to a time when Morgan Freeman was old enough to play a grandfather, but young enough to date a granddaughter. In his brilliant performance as Red, an honest crook who loves two things, his best friend Andy, and narrating his thoughts to no one in particular.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright.
Wait, is he talking to me? Oh, cool, Red. Let his soothing baritone turn a terrible story full of rape and murder into a poignant story full of rape and murder.
Prison is no fairy tale world. He never said who did it, but we all knew.
That ends up feeling like a Greek tragedy told entirely through ASMR videos.
I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope.
If you start scraping a hairbrush, I'm just gonna pass right out. So dive back into the septic tank for this classic saga of one film's quest to win an Oscar, only to lose out to Forrest Gump. That was criminally underrated when it came out, because Oscar-worthy dramas are like a box of chocolates. They sound good, but you've had your fill after 2 or 3. In this genuinely great film about never giving up on your shitty pipe dream.
This is a shitty pipe dreams.
Because sometimes shitty pipe dreams do come true. Starring #Dufresne the Police, Morgan Not Freeman, Norton Futilities, Hillbilly Felony, Put Your Hand on That Wall, Arthur Conzarelli, Brooks and Dunn, and after the COVID restrictions get lifted, Prison Break. So, are we sure Andy didn't kill his wife? We know he was drunk outside her house with a loaded gun, 8 bullets, documented anger problems, 0 alibi, and he never shows any real sadness about her death. In the grand tradition of R2-D2, the Iron Giant, and Johnny 5, comes another adorable kid and their pet robot story. Only this one's f***ing intense. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Return to an era when hard R films were sold to children.
You're next, John Connor. I'm back. Hasta la vista, baby. Terminated.
Full of things we probably weren't ready to see, and would have been even more disturbing if it starred the studio's first choice, O.J. Simpson. Ugh. journey to a future so grim, the streets are literally paved with human skulls, as the evil AI Skynet sends a Terminator back in time to kill John Connor, whose father was a man sent back in time to protect him. Meaning, if the robots really wanted to kill John, they shouldn't have sent anything to kill him at all, since he never would have been born. But if Skynet doesn't send back the first Terminator, he wouldn't leave behind the technology that led to Skynet existing in the first place? Yeah, the timeline's all f***ed up. Meet the T-1000, the iPhone of killer cyborgs, whose liquid metal body can take any shape, meaning those ears were a deliberate choice. And the T-800, the indestructible Nokia brick phone of killer cyborgs, a stiff, emotionless, monotone giant that Arnold Schwarzenegger was born to play.
I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do.
Full of awesome features like shotgun twirling, an endless supply of one-liners,
I'll be back. Come with me if you want to live. Hasta la vista, baby.
a casualty counter that's specific down to the decimal point for some reason, and detailed files on human anatomy,
I have detailed files on human anatomy.
except for crying
What's wrong with your eyes?
or smiling. Watch these killers spend the first third of the film in a cat and mouse game that would have you guessing which one is the good guy, if the trailers hadn't already given it away.
Once, he was programmed to destroy the future. Now, his mission
Get down.
is to protect it.
A lesson we still haven't learned, apparently.
What have they done to my son?
Survive was what you taught me.
And thrill as they track down the Connor family. Sarah, the Che Guevara of soccer moms, with some big guns, and some big guns. And John, her 9-year-old son, played by Edward Furlong, who would go on to star in numerous court appearances.
Did you call moi a dipshit?
Yes. So witness an amazing film with horrible consequences that spawned 1,000 lazy pop culture references.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, buggies.
Hasta la vista, kitty!
Hasta la vista, Jessica.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Turned Arnie into a spoof of himself.
I'll be back. I'm back. I'll be back. I might be back. You'll be back. I'm back. She'll be back. I'll be back. Ha! You did not gonna say that, did you?
That's what you always say.
And led the film industry to overvalue sequels, stars, and CGI that still doesn't look much better today. When all we really want is a good story about a hero who sacrifices himself to save humanity. Even if it means leaving behind the only people who ever loved him. What? No, I'm not crying. Why would I be crying? It's just a dumb, stupid action movie. Stop looking at me. Starring so much promise. Iron Miles Dyson, Budnick, Alex Mack, Hey Arnold, Guns N' Roses, Gun N' Roses, the only Sarah Connor who wasn't in Game of Thrones, Hank from Breaking Bad, no really, and the Fonz, hey! Terminator 2, bad they kept making sequels. You know, I'm all for self-sacrifice and everything, but you know you left your arm back in the factory, right? That's the exact same mistake they made at the end of the first one. You had one job, bro. From the director, who apparently gets a lifetime pass because he made The Dark Knight, comes the movie everyone respected for being ambitious and original, but also made them say, what's he doing in a space bookshelf? Interstellar. The Earth is really dusty, and we've run out of okra.
You're saying it's the last harvest for okra, ever.
Matthew McConaughey stars as Matthew McConaughey, barely pretending to be a guy named Coop. He's a pilot turned corn farmer, struggling against the words trying to escape from his mouth.
We farmers, we sit here every year when the rains fail and we say, next year.
But above all, he's a father to his beloved daughter Merv.
Murph! Murph! Come on, Murph. Make him stay, Murph. Don't let me leave, Murph! Murph! Murph!
And his son Tom, who by comparison he couldn't give two shits about.
Tom will be all right, but you gotta make things right with Murph.
I will.
When Cooper is sent to 5-dimensional space to write NASA's coordinates out of the dust particles in his daughter's bedroom. Don't worry, we'll get back to that. He'll embark on a mission to save the world with the help of Christopher Nolan's trademarks. On-the-nose dialogue about character motivations.
You were good at something, and you never got a chance to do anything with it.
The tiniest possibility of seeing Wolf again excites me.
I can't watch you go through this. I'm sorry. I thought I could, but I can't.
And dumb down analogy so the audience can keep up.
If a black hole is an oyster, then the singularity is the pearl inside.
So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through.
Hey, you stole that one from Event Horizon.
When the spacecraft passes through the gateway, space returns to normal.
But Coop won't have to make this journey alone. Along for the ride are these two red shirts, a shape-shifting ATM, this crying girl, and the world's best scientist.
Led by the remarkable Dr. Mann.
Dr. Mann? Well, he's remarkable. He's the best of us.
Who doesn't know how an airlock works?
If you open the hatch, the airlock will depressurize.
There is a moment.
Smooth. Witness a visual masterpiece that assaults your eyes with breathtaking effects and assaults your ears with emotional swells that sound like Hans Zimmer fell asleep on his organ.
Damn it, turn it down! I can't hear my own epic voice!
1, booster ignition.
So try to follow along with a film that was praised by no less than Neil deGrasse Tyson for its scientific accuracy, even though it goes full-blown Shyamalan at the end in a final act that consists of Cooper taking a black hole to a 5-dimensional tesseract constructed by future humans.
We brought ourselves.
Finding his daughter through the power of love.
My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable.
Sending himself the coordinates to the secret NASA base that started this whole thing off from behind his daughter's bookcase, which is a paradox, by the way.
I brought myself here.
Tapping out complex scientific data from inside the black hole and Morse code on the second hand of a wristwatch, which Murph uses to solve gravity and save humanity. Then getting spit out into space unscathed in only a spacesuit, just in time to be picked up by space rangers.
The rangers found you with only minutes left in your oxygen supply.
Who unfreeze his elderly daughter so they can finally reunite, only for her to tell him to go back into space after, like, a minute, so he can go back through the wormhole he just escaped from to find Anne Hathaway. Go ahead, tell us that didn't happen. It's not that we don't understand it, it's just really stupid. Starring the astronaut farmer, Star Trek, The Math of Cain, and Go Away, Murph, Luigi Affleck, that 70s cameo, Third Dick from the Sun, PAL 9000, and a baked potato. Christopher Nolan's Contact.
Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
All right. Oh, what? Wait, what? Fine, we'll do the freaking Matrix. From the Wachowski brothers, siblings, comes the mind-blowing sci-fi game changer and the 2 sequels that took a huge steaming dump on it, The Matrix and its sequels. Prepare for the most original sci-fi franchise since Star Wars that ultimately went all Jar Jar Binks on itself, kinda like Star Wars. Relive all the awesome moments you loved from the first film, the one sequence you liked from the second, and absolutely nothing from the third. Jack into The Matrix, a virtual reality simulation of the late 90s, full of flip phones, pay phones, mini discs, outfits straight out of a Marilyn Manson video, and AOL screen names.
This is APOC, Switch, and Cypher. Tank, and his big brother Dozer.
You've got mail.
Watch as one hacker named Neo, which is an anagram for one, becomes the one who can only make one facial expression. But he's not alone. Meet Trinity, the love of Neo's life, and Morpheus, the other love of Neo's life.
What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
You are the one, Neo. I've spent my entire life looking for you.
Try to relax. This will feel a little weird. He is the one.
Get a room, you two. Together, they'll face off against Agent Smith, a villain so cool. They just copied him a bunch of times instead of coming up with another cool bad guy. Watch as these two battle in this awesomely choreographed kung fu fight. Then in this CGI bullshit. And then in this Dragon Ball Z ripoff. Hame? Nah. Journey to the Matrix, a world of limitless possibilities that had audiences everywhere questioning their own existence. And then Journey to Zion, a world of sweaty cave ravers. Really? We're gonna spend half of this trilogy here? Can we just watch some bullet time again? Nice. So settle in for a film that spawned 1,000 imitators, from its effects, to its tone, to its wardrobe, to its own sequels. And prepare for the thinking man's action franchise that got stuck way too far up its own ass by the end of part 2.
While this answer functioned, it was obviously fundamentally flawed, thus creating the otherwise contradictory systemic anomaly that, if left unchecked, might threaten the system itself. Ergo, those that refuse...
I have no idea what he's talking about. Is it too late for me to take the blue pill? Starring Kung Fu Jesus, female Keanu Reeves, Lawrence and the Machine, White Chicks, The Boracle, Where It All Went Wrong, Jaden's Mom, The Last Spoonbender, Mr. Ambien, Mormons, Squidward, and Monica Bellucci. Ha, just kidding, boobs. The Matrix and its sequels. You know it's a bad sign when your video game and direct-to-DVD cartoon are better than your movies.
Goodbye.
From the director of the King Kong Universal Studios ride comes a film adaptation of the overly dense nerd Bibles that employed an entire nation. When an evil vagina awakens, it's up to this hobbit and this fantasy boy band to destroy its jewelry, prompting these unlikely heroes to embark on an 11-hour New Zealand tourism commercial rife with walking, roaming, hiking, more walking, and strolling. Join our heroes as they face ruthless armies of Middle-earth, all vying for the most powerful object in the world, the One Ring to rule them all, which does absolutely nothing besides turn you into an invisible crack addict. Behold a quest so long, these hobbits will need to be carried by horses, carried by orcs, carried by trees, carried by eagles, and carried by hobbits.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you!
Meet characters whose names are so complicated only a linguist could remember, like
Gandalf, Frodo,
Bilbo, Sauron,
Saruman,
Aragorn, son of Arathorn, Boromir,
Faramir,
Arwen,
Gimli, son of Gloin,
Isildur,
Morgoth, Galadriel, Caras Galathon,
Edred, Grima Wormtongue,
Legolas, Thranduil, Sam.
From the award-winning visual effects team that launched the career of one man who must now wear skin-tight spandex and face dots for the rest of his life, comes a movie bursting with so much manly compassion, you'll think you're watching Brokeback Mount Doom. A tale that will strive to prove that people of all walks of life can work together as long as they're all white. Seriously, even when they die, they come back whiter. And an adventure where every lead character faces constant mortal danger, but only Sean Bean dies. Gee, haven't seen that before. Starring homeless Magneto, vegan Mordenstein, Gwyneth Paltrow, Morningwood, Zach Galifianakis, Fat Rudy, Game of Thrones reference, Harold and Kumar, Clear Eyes, and Lindsay Lohan, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A film that took so much of Peter Jackson's life, he didn't want it to end, prompting 5 completely separate endings that go on forever, making it really hard to hold in your pee. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. A film with such fake emotional stakes, Gandalf will sacrifice himself for his friends, only to somehow come back to life, making it not really a sacrifice. And a story where the protagonists can't win their own battles without convenient ghost armies, living trees, and magic eagles.
The eagles are coming!
The Lord of the Rings Trilogy. I can't believe we're only halfway through this Peter Jackson nerdgasm. The greatest film of the original trilogy, one of the best sequels ever made, and the movie Star Wars fans love the most, just so happens to be the one where George Lucas was involved the least. The Empire Strikes Back. You love the fun-filled space adventure where evil is vanquished and everyone gets a medal. Yay! Now, watch the rebellion get crushed, the comic relief get frozen, and the ultimate evil tell the hero, who's your daddy?
I am your father.
In a sequel so dark, it's become the lazy shorthand for any time a franchise turns even slightly to the dark side. Yeah, well, this is actually The Empire Strikes Back of honest trailers. So there, yeah. Witness a movie full of excellent directing, great acting, brilliant dialogue.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder.
Gorgeous music, and iconic moments that will stay with you for a lifetime.
I love you.
I know.
But, let's see, what to nitpick here? Sometimes they pronounce Han Solo's name different.
Han! What about Han? Han, get up here! Do you think that after what you did to Han, the world would...
Haha! You suck, perfect movie! This is gonna be a tough one, isn't it? Revisit all of your favorite characters 3 years after they shot their balls into the egg hole, like Princess Leia, who's proof that Lucas either didn't have these movies planned out as much as he claims, or he was into some pretty weird stuff. Han Solo, a charming smuggler who's not afraid to make a point with his hands.
No! I can arrange that.
Put them back together. Know where Commander Skywalker is? That's right. My friend's out in it.
Wait a second.
But you...
Punch it! Shh! Turn her around.
Stand by the manual release.
And Luke Skywalker, the magical moisture farmer who's no longer a whiny brat, now he's just dumb. Whether he's crashing his X-Wing into a swamp, getting tricked into a hole, running out of a warm cave to freeze to death, losing a fight to slow-moving pieces of furniture, or ignoring the advice of the last living Jedi.
Luke, you must complete the training.
I can't keep the vision out of my head. They're my friends. I gotta help them.
Well, at least they have a spare. In a world where sequels and reboots coast by on nostalgia alone, enjoy a sequel that takes everything you love about Star Wars and actually builds on it, adding all new worlds like Hoth, a planet made of ice, Dagobah, a planet made of snakes, and Bespin, a planet made of matte paintings, each one of them full of amazing all-new characters, like Lando Calrissian, a gambler who won a mining company in a card game, I think? Boba Fett, the biggest movie badass with the least amount of screen time. And of course Yoda, the Jedi Master who trains Luke in the ancient art of, entering spooky caves, not trying anything.
There is no try.
And flipping for no reason. Wait a second, these pointless gymnastics remind me of someone. That's where the prequels got all the dumb flipping around from? Whoa, mind blown. So strap in for the Star Wars movie that's so good they barely touched it in the special editions, representing the absolute peak of the franchise, when the prequels could still be good.
Then we go back 20 years, and we do the story of young Darth Vader and the young Alec Guinness character. And in the third film, which precedes Star Wars, you see.
Like a prequel.
That's right.
They had an actual end date in sight.
If Lucas makes all 9 episodes, the Force may be around until 2001.
And people didn't take these make-believe characters so freaking seriously.
Han Solo and Princess Leia and the Wookiee and 3CPO.
Starring the Wookiee, 3CPO, Cool Hand Luke, Ray's mom or aunt or something, Hand Pointo, worst Kinder Egg ever, Adultish Gambino, the dude from the holiday special, the hardest level in the Rogue Squadron N64 game, and Run, 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 Jump, I can be your backpack while you run. The Empire Strikes Back of Star Wars. No! Like father, like son, I guess. From Steven Spielberg, director of films about the Holocaust and Japanese internment camps, but also the fun side of World War II.
Don't you dare fire that gun in this house!
Boy, that was fun!
Comes another one about his favorite real war with a fake story about a real policy and fake characters asking if they really have to do this.
Where's the sense of risking the lives of the 8 of us to save one guy?
It's not going to be easy finding one particular soldier in the middle of this whole goddamn war.
This entire mission is a serious misallocation of valuable military resources.
This Ryan better be worth it.
I understand what you're doing. You do?
Saving Private Ryan. Return to a time when punching Nazis wasn't controversial, and witness the reason your grandpa doesn't talk very much. That's a realistic look at the sacrifice of the troops on the ground and the armchair generals who send them off to die for extremely dumb reasons.
We go sending some sort of rescue mission. They're going to be KIA too.
We are going to send somebody to find them.
In this search and rescue mission, where an entire squad lays down their lives so Matt Damon's mom can be 1/4 less sad. No one Damon's worth 8 other guys. Besides, we got a spare. Strap in for some of the most punishing battle scenes of all time. That opens with the meat grinder that was D-Day. And continues an unflinching mix of the History Channel and Mortal Kombat fatalities. Featuring more nervous-looking dudes than the waiting room at a vasectomy clinic. And more grown men sobbing than at the end of Terminator 2. This film is intense. Can we lighten it up a bit? Suit up for a film that honors the troops and the tropes with standard issue characters like tough guy from Brooklyn.
I'm done with this mission.
Religious southerner.
God gave me a special gift, made me a fine instrument of warfare.
Wisecracking Jew.
Your father was circumcised by my rabbi, you prick!
Anxious rookie. Famous actor cameo. And in a visionary piece of casting, Vin Diesel as an Italian guy with a crucifix necklace who cares deeply about family.
Capozzo, get the kid back up there! I can't, she reminds me of my niece, sir!
Ain't no such thing as a master race. And if there was, I would win it. Race wars. We invented it.
Leading them into the depths of hell is America's dad, Tom Hanks. He's 1 part weapons geek.
Spring mine 44, shoe mine 42s, pot mines, A200s, big mushrooms, telemine 43s.
1 part MacGyver.
2 MG42s, 2 mortars.
We could try a sticky bomb.
Sir, are you making that up?
And 1 part guy ashamed of his liberal arts degree.
Somebody must know where he's from, what he did for a living.
I teach English composition.
Salute this hero who seems almost too good to be true.
He's good.
I love him.
Then realize, wait, if this whole story is Private Ryan's flashback, everything before they meet up is just his imagination. Ryan wasn't there on D-Day. He never even met Waiter Compazzo. He probably just fell asleep watching Boiler Room.
He's definitely...
Well, I don't want to hear it, kid.
Okay.
So revisit one of the greatest, most accurate war films ever made that's come to define the conflict for generations until the Call of Duty franchise came along. And honestly, this movie proves COD got it mostly right too. The chat is full of bro talk.
You're going home wrapped in American flag with a hunk of cheese in your ass, Caparzo, you smart ass. I thought you liked it in the ass.
The teamwork is non-existent.
Maybe I should go left, sir. Maybe you should shut up.
And if you kill enough of the other side without dying, you get to call in an epic kill streak. Come on, that's so OP. They have to nerf those planes in World War III. Starring, look at me, I'm the captain now. The Dirt Locker. Brooklyn Wine. Jackson 316 says I just shot your ass. Fubar Mitzvah. I don't got a squad. I got family. What's up, Ham? Giovanni Ribblizzi. Bland of Brothers. Malone in the Dark. Army of One. And Paul Giannazzi.
Let me get this hitchhiker out of my boot.
National Platoons, European Formation. You know, it's really rare when a film honors the greatest generation and inspires the greatest porn name of a generation. I mean, even Spielberg had to give it props.
Shaving Ryan's Privates. Did you know about this?
No. Not until this very moment. Wow.
Before you see the movie about an evil fictional technology company, see the story of Facebook, a real-life evil technology company. The Social Network. Experience the world's smartest film about the world's dullest premise.
Did you answer affirmatively when Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss and Divya Narendra asked you to build Harvard Connection? Did you say yes?
In this dark Shakespearean drama about the website your crazy aunt posts minion memes on that uses snappy dialogue.
I deserve your attention.
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount.
Slick directing and great performances to make a story where young millionaires sue each other for more money feel really high stakes.
What was your ownership share diluted down to?
0.03%.
That's still millions, you greedy asshole. Gah! I'd sell my kidney for 0.03% of Neopets. Journey to Harvard, where no one ever lets you forget. It's Harvard.
This is John Harvard.
We're gentlemen of Harvard.
Girls want to go with guys who go to Harvard.
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 Harvard. Harvard.
This is Harvard.
And meet Mark Zuckerberg, a star student with the mind of a calculator, the heart of a troll,
Erica Albright's a bitch,
and the wardrobe of a comfy hobo. He's determined to do two things with his life: make the world respect him, and make sure Jesse Eisenberg gets every awkward know-it-all nerd role in Hollywood. Take that, Michael Cera. Coasting off Mark's talent are a succession of hot dudes in suits, like Eduardo, the only Brazilian who doesn't know how to party.
You think this is such a good idea? You think maybe we shouldn't shut it down before we get into trouble? You want to end the party at 11. I'm trying to pay for the party.
Sean Parker, the man on the side who gets in the way of their bromance, and the Winklevi, who briefly got your hopes up that Armie Hammer had an identical twin. Or to put it another way, Lex Luthor dumps Spider-Man for NSYNC and pisses off the Lone Ranger. If you want to know the real story behind Facebook, watch something else, because they're bending the truth harder than the news your uncle posts on his wall. In a film that makes up the ex-girlfriend who supposedly inspired the site, makes up an obsession with Final Clubs that tears Mark's friendships apart.
Tell me this isn't about me getting into the Phoenix.
And makes him into an awkward scowling robot where in real life he was a normal dorky college kid.
Within a couple of weeks, 2/3 of the school had signed up. So at that point, my roommates were kind of like, you know, this is pretty cool. Like, I bet this would work at other schools.
But hey, don't let facts get in the way. I'm sure the real Sean Parker loved seeing himself as a paranoid, coked-out, cowardly, maybe sort of statutory rapist.
How old were they, Sean?
It's not polite to ask.
Sean, how old were they?
So gather round for a film that's not really about Facebook. It's about friendship that still nails what it's like to use the website. In this masterpiece of craft that proves Aaron Sorkin could make boring litigation exciting.
You stole our whole goddamn idea.
Fellas.
David Fincher could make applying for an internship look awesome.
Welcome to Facebook.
And Trent Reznor could make rowing down a calm river feel epic. Man, I wish they'd make another Facebook movie. Is a sentence I'd never thought I'd say in this lifetime. Starring Jesse Eisenberg as himself, Andrew Garfield, the Brazilian Jew, Tim from Jurassic Park, the Cloned Ranger, a single shade of gray, he's a Tekunostas, and all the laptops who gave their lives so David Fincher could get the perfect shot. Side Club. I know it's realistic and everything, but trying to understand Sorkin dialogue in a loud bar is like your grandma trying to understand how Facebook works. No, Nana, the search bar is not the same as a status update. Gah! From Steven Spielberg comes the thriller that earned him enough goodwill to make up for 1,000,000 crystal skulls.
Knowledge was their treasure.
Okay, one crystal skull, and still stands as the best directed, well-cast, masterfully scored cheeseball B-movie ever made, Jaws. Experience one of the scariest monster movies of all time, with barely any monster in it, that managed to scare the crap out of you with just 2 music notes, the occasional fin, and some barrels.
Can't stay down with 3 pounds on it.
Because Spielberg didn't really have a choice.
The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Thank God it didn't work. Any more of that thing would have made Jaws 1 look like Jaws 4. People are dying on Amity Island, and only one monster is to blame. The town mayor. Watch as this horrible man and his even more horrible blazers do everything they can to keep business going, no matter how many girls, dogs, children, dogs, guys, and other guys keep getting eaten.
But those beaches will be open for this weekend.
We need summer dollars.
He is so getting named in a class action lawsuit after this.
Tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
Out for vengeance is Chief Brody, a cop who wants to keep everyone safe while getting a good buzz going.
I can do anything. I'm the chief of police.
He'll take to the sea with Hooper, the original Instagram hipster.
Please go to the end of the pulpit. What for? I need to have something in the foreground to give it some scale.
And Quint, a grizzled old fish encyclopedia.
Bluegills, Tommy Codge.
Marlin, stingray.
That's the thresher. You see that, Chief? Thresher's tail.
Dogfish.
Just got a couple of stripers. Orcas. Talking about porkers.
Watch as this legendary badass sails out to do 2 things: kill sharks and sing sea shanties.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
And he's all out of sea. And he's all out of. And he's.
Here lies the body of Mary Lee, died at the age of 103.
And he's. And he's. And he's dead. Return to the movie that invented the summer blockbuster and inspired great claustrophobic horror movies like Alien, but also invented the unnecessary sequel, franchise fatigue, and inspired every sci-fi movie that combines sharks with tornadoes, an octopus, or Tara Reid. So before you see the Spielberg film about a big friendly giant, revisit the film about a big f***ing shark that made everyone scared to go in the water. Even though sharks kill fewer people per year than being crushed by a vending machine, that proves you don't need fancy CGI to make a great blockbuster. Just one of the best living directors, a perfect cast, and one of the most iconic scores of all time. That, actually sounds pretty hard. Now I get why they stick with CGI. Starring Sequest, 70s Paul Giamatti, Captain A. Ahab, When You Fish Upon a Star, the Universal Studios Tour, This Guy.
Tiger shark.
A what?
The part that made you poop your pants. Legs. More legs. And seriously, what is with this movie and legs? Shark Tale. You know the book this was based on was set on the Jersey Shore, right? That would have been a way different movie. Get him, shark! Get him!
Oh, this is heavy.
From Steven Spielberg's Buddy comes the blockbuster hit that stands the test of time. The sequel that launched 1 million BS Facebook posts. And the third one, the Back to the Future Trilogy.
Great Scott.
Prepare for a trilogy of era-defining films that made everyone who wasn't black want to go back in time.
A colored mayor, that'll be the day.
Beat it, spook. This don't concern you.
Featuring the one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and set up the sequel. The one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and set up the sequel. And the one where they travel to the past, beat up the bully, fix the future, and leave open the possibility for a sequel. Man, if you marathon these things, they start to get really repetitive.
Mom, is that you?
Hey, McFly! You chicken!
Something very familiar about all this.
Journey to Hill Valley, a place where the gene pool is so shallow that everyone's ancestor looks exactly the same as their descendants. And meet Marty McFly, your average 80s teenager who just wants to play guitar,
Rock and roll.
hang from cars, and not get clock blocked.
Save the clock tower!
When Marty's handed the keys to a time-traveling DeLorean, he'll journey from 1985 to 1955 to 1985 to 2015 to a dystopian 1985 to 1955 to 1885, then back to 1985, all in the span of about a couple of weeks. Great Scott, that would be a mind f***. But Marty's not doing it alone. Along for the ride through the fourth dimension is Dr. Emmett Brown, an old man who lives alone and whose only friend is a teenage boy. He's a mad scientist who steals nuclear weapons from terrorists.
They wanted me to build them a bomb, so I took their plutonium and in turn gave them a shiny bomb casing full of used pinball machine parts.
Tests dangerous experiments on animals.
Have a good trip, Einstein. Watch ahead.
And chose to build a time machine out of one of the most unreliable cars of all time.
Come on. No.
Damn. Gotta fix that thing.
To celebrate the original's 30th anniversary, revisit the creepiest blockbuster ever for a story about Marty planning to molest his mom so his dad can have sex with her, except his mom is totally into it, which means her future son looks identical to the guy she had a crush on in high school, and her attempted rapist does chores around the house.
It wasn't for him.
We never would have fallen in love.
It's still not as creepy as Doc's kid from the end of the third one.
It means your future hasn't been written yet.
What is he doing? But it's not just the original you loved. It's also parts of the other ones, like the train, and the version of 2015 that got so many things right about today, from the endless 3D sequels to FaceTime to the 80s nostalgia.
Welcome to the Cafe 80s.
You'll almost forgive them for tricking you into thinking hoverboards were real.
They've been around for years. It's just that parents groups have not let the toy manufacturers make them, and we got our hands on some, and we put them in the movie.
Stop trolling, Zemeckis. So return to a simpler time when this was the future.
Our laces, all right.
This was the present. And this was terrorism. As you try not to panic when you realize you're as far away from the first movie's release as Marty was from 1955. Wow, I am old. Starring Rick and Morty, Donald Trump, The Three Stooges, hey, that's Billy Zane, Crisping Lover, MILF, legit musician cameos, and Hot Car Time Machine. Doc and Marty's Excellent Adventure. You know what? The timeline continuity really holds up until they throw it all away for that Chuck Berry joke.
You know that new sound you're looking for?
I mean, if Marty changed the past, that means he never traveled back in time. But if he inspired Chuck Berry to write Johnny Be Good, that means he always went back. And then, my head. I hate time travel.